Welcome on back. In the last episode, we did a load of work just finishing off that manor house in the distance there, and we built up this entire mountainscape here. Let's just have a little fly around and have a bit of a look. Need to sort that out a little bit. It's a little bit too square, but yeah, it's a lot of work. We did all of these little mountains over here, and as I say, we sort of finished off this manor house area here. Just adding a little bit more life to the area and that. So yeah, in between episodes, I've sort of started setting up this edge of the island. So we got some more bamboo and that, and I thought this was pretty cool. Just a massive lilac field going on there. I've also started work on our actual town. So I got a little bit more carried away than I intended to, but I've built up 4 different houses now, and you can see they're all following a fairly similar theme. For the most part, I do want this to be made out of wood and that. I think that's the right way to go with it. So yeah, this one was really difficult. Built at an angle. Medieval houses I tend to find are fairly simple to build at angles, but getting this one to look right was a little bit of a challenge. Um, but yeah, I think we've done it. We've got a nice little overhang bit there, and our sliding doors and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, I think it actually come out looking really good in the end. Unfortunately, when I started building it, I did do it on an even number, which is, in my opinion, the cardinal mistake of a Minecraft build. But yeah, we got a nice little L-shaped build here, which eventually is going to have like a little garden area. So we got like a little area to walk out from there. We've got another really small house here. Don't really know what we're going to do with this one, but we've got a bit of a bigger house here. And I figured for like a bit of hierarchy within the town, we could use the same prismarine blocks that we're using up on the manor house there, just as, I suppose, a symbol of wealth over these more wooden builds, and I think that'd be pretty cool. For the majority of today's episode, what I want to be working on is this library build here. Now, this is the basic structure shape that I've got. That may wind up changing a little bit, it probably will, knowing me. But before we get to that, what I want to do is probably I want to build up this house. I'm gonna completely change the layout of this house because that one building at this angle was pretty difficult, and this one's even smaller and tighter. So yeah, I think I'm gonna avoid that at the moment. But yeah, so we're gonna build up a house here and a house there, and I want to get some of the naturey bits in here first. So yeah, I'm gonna spend quite a bit of time doing this, and afterwards, we'll jump in and have a look, and then after that, we'll probably jump into a time lapse building this one up. And I want to get an interior done for the library today as well, so we've got quite a bit of work to do. So without wasting too much time, I'm going to jump into it, so I'll catch you guys in a sec. So I've been around now and sort of naturalised the area a little bit, and I'm wondering whether maybe I've gone a little bit in the wrong direction with this. Starting to look a little bit overgrown and almost like this town's been abandoned almost. So I kind of really like all of this like texture variation we've got going on. I might get rid of the bits of podzol. That's like the only bit that I'm not really too sure about. But yeah, I think like all of the grass and all of the leaves is actually making this place look a bit derelict. It might look a bit better once we get people moving around and that, but it almost looks like overgrown. So it's almost like the forest up there has started carrying its way down here. So we might need to actually tidy this up a little bit. Done a little bit of work in some of the gardens as well, but again, I don't know what I was really thinking. It's just kind of become this really overgrown thing. Which would be really cool if we was making a derelict city. But the idea of this like little village is that we're gonna get the villagers in at some point. So maybe doesn't make sense, but also maybe does make sense, seeing as it's supposed to be sort of like the more rustic feel of Japan, I suppose. Well, not really Japan, because a lot of this stuff is a mixture between Japanese and Chinese architecture. But at any rate, we did just have a new snapshot, so we've got these iron chains in now, which are pretty cool. I do quite like them. I'd be tempted to play around with the texture, but then if I was to change the texture of that, I would have to change the texture on the lanterns as well, just so that the chain matched. Because basically this top chain bit matches the top chain of the lantern. But yeah, that's all cool. I mean, I could change it around. I might not. I do quite like it, but I've got a feeling it might look a little bit better if it was actually a little bit lighter. Yeah, so we built up two more houses. So we've got this little tiny one here. Now I really want to play around with like your sight line in this like little village. So I don't want everything to be the same sort of height. So we've got a two-story house there. We've got this tiny little house here. It's quite long. I actually really like the design. I'm just using dark oak trapdoors to create like a little trim around this bottom bit, and then just one of the more typical roofs that are basically repeated the pattern of pretty much everywhere. We've got another two-story house here. Now I actually really like this one. It's got no flooring on the inside or anything, but it's got a bit of that sort of like white feel. I've used white concrete powder there just to sort of get the texture in that, because I thought that was a pretty cool addition. But if we come up here and just do a bit of jumping around, I thought I'd make it so that this house has access straight into this top section. Um, Again, I need to add in like a little doorway here and actually do something with it. I will eventually do. What on earth was that noise? Well, there's definitely a skeleton and zombies about, probably underneath here actually. But yeah, eventually I do want to come along and do interiors on all of these builds, but we'll get to that at some point. But yeah, it's sort of starting to come together. You'll have to let me know what you think about like the way we've naturalized this. Is it too much or is it actually just right? At any rate, I've still got a little bit of work to do around here. So like I need to do this inside area here, and what I was thinking was rather than continuing the sort of grass theme we've got going on is to actually bring in some gravel, uh, just to add like a little bit of variation and make it look like, you know, this is I don't really know what the right word for it is, but basically the well, man-made, that's exactly the term that I am looking for. So yeah, I'm probably going to do that, and we want to add a few things about inside these walls. I don't know what yet though, so I'm going to think about that. But yeah, we are going to move on to this library build. Now, this isn't going to be anything massive, and again, we're going for a more rustic feel for things. So yeah, what you'll probably find is that this isn't a massive build, um, and it's going to have a house attached to it as well. So part of it's going to be segmented off into the living space for the owner of it, and another part of it's going to be segmented off for books, basically. I think that should be a pretty good idea. I'm going to play around with the shape of this and move it about a little bit, because I want a little bit more space out the front here, but I can always cut these leaves back as well. So yeah, I guess roll the time lapse. that is the main structure complete now. We got a pretty cool little bay window there and a balcony up the top, and there's 3 different tiers of roofs. There's still some blocks that I need to place in just to finish the actual structure off, and I need to get like the sliding doors in and that. But yeah, I think this is all looking really, really cool. I'm actually really happy with the way that this one's come out. There's going to be like a little garden area back here, which would be pretty cool. We're just going to have some stairs coming down. Yeah, and we're going to have like a really cool little garden area here. I've kept all of the inside walls like this so that we can work out an interior before putting the windows in. It's actually wound up being quite a bit tighter than I intended it to be. Yeah, I definitely didn't intend for it to come right up to that edge there, but I don't really think there was much else I could do. And coming along here, we could still have a path coming through, which could wind up looking pretty cool, actually being quite as tight as that. And it just means that basically you'd have to go all the way around to get to what's going to be the blacksmiths. But yeah, the overall structure is very, very different to the plan that was laid out. This big section here is going to be the house, and the smaller section is going to be the actual little library bit. So we got like a little dip down bit here. There's going to be a staircase up on this side. All of the library stuff's going to be in here. And we're going to have like a pretty cool little deck area here, which should wind up looking really good. So I am just going to sort of power on and get these bits done, because it's actually been another day or so since I last got to record. So yeah, I'm going to power through, get this build complete, and then we can come through and have an overall look at it. So I think I'm pretty much done with this build now. I've come through, if I could get up the stairs. Well, actually first, it's kind of changed a little bit. So originally it was just going to be a library, but after I started doing the interior, I started to think it looked a little bit more like an almost school type thing. So yeah, let's take a look inside anyway and we'll see what we think. So I've got like a massive little bookshelf up there. We're just using the looms there to create the look of a sort of empty bookcase, which is cool. There's a load of chests scattered about the place. These are just acting as tables, and the carpets are acting as like little seats rather than big old chairs and that. We've got a load of greenery in here as well. But yeah, this is what made me think it was more like a classroom, because I want the villagers to be able to have their professions in here. So I put all of these in, and then I was like, oh, okay, I'll put some tables down, and I put these like little paintings up, and yeah, basically I feel like it looks a little bit more like a classroom. So everything's pretty tight. I think I'm getting a little bit better at doing interiors. I'm still not 100% there yet, but we are getting closer. So coming through here, there's just like a little storage area here. Nothing much really going on. Haven't done the outside back garden yet, because I want to wait to see what you guys think about the way I'm doing the nature in this area before I get too much into it. And up here, I've kept this pretty plain as well. So we've just got the beds. I went for different coloured beds. Didn't really need to. But yeah, I don't want to put too much up here, because I want the villagers to be able to pathfind a little bit easier. I might need to get rid of these trapdoors to help with the pathfinding. In fact, do you know what? I might just do it now, because I know the trapdoors are going to mess up their pathfinding. And I'm just going to break everything else while I do it. And now I can't get that block, so we're just going to pretend like that didn't happen. So yeah, the villagers will sleep up here, pathfind their way down, and that's all cool. We've got one of our custom paintings in the world now as well, which that's our Tory gate. Basically, I took a screenshot of the world and then put it into a program called Critter, and yeah, just resized it essentially, and it actually come out, I think, looking pretty good as far as Minecraft paintings go. So yeah, that's not too sad. Obviously, we've got a load of open windows about the place, and then we've got our little balcony up here. Can't even jump out of this one, it's so tight, but yeah, I think it's sort of come together really well. As I say, I'm really unsure about the sort of style I'm going along here with all of this like nature sort of stuff, so yeah, if you could drop a comment and let me know what you think, whether you like it or not, and you know, all of that sort of stuff basically. Does it look good? Do we need to tame it back a little bit? And if we do tame it back, how should we tame it back? Like, what should we make it look like? What do you think could actually help to improve this? other than obviously getting the interiors sorted out. I think I'm definitely going to remove the podzol, but we have done quite a bit of work today, actually. Well, I say today, this has taken 2 days just because of work and that. So, yeah, that is pretty cool. Moving on, in our next episode, we're going to be working on this blacksmith's area here, which should wind up being pretty good. In between, I'm going to just build up this house here. I'm probably going to make this one a bit bigger. And originally I was going to put a well here, but I think that I might just incorporate the well into the blacksmith build. And then that should give me a little bit of space to make another house here. This sort of central area, I'm really tempted to bring it back a little bit so we can get some more houses in, because I'm really liking the tight fill that we've got going on at the moment. And I feel like this is a massive open area, so yeah, there's definitely room for expansion. This is just a random house as well. To be fair, I might just get all of the random houses done, and then that's just going to leave our big project houses for video, which I think is a bit of a better idea, unless you guys want me to show you my process building these up. But essentially they're not going to be too different from these ones. I'm just going to vary the shape about a little bit. Some of them will have gardens, some of them won't, and all of that sort of stuff. But yeah, we have achieved quite a bit today. I have a very messy inventory, and basically we've built up an entire portion of the town. In fact, I liked it so much I decided to actually make a map wall. So that is all really cool. We've got this map going on now. We can see the city starting to take shape, and we can see all of the work we've done. We actually have covered a really large amount of space. Since I think I started this project back in August, and back then I was really juggling it between this and a creative series that I was taking probably a little bit more serious, but we've really achieved a hell of a lot. And look how cool that looks. Like, I love maps. Map walls are pretty much the best. Alright, let's get out of here. So, yeah, I am going to be ending off here today. So, I really hope you've enjoyed, and I will catch you in the next one.